Okay, we are live. Welcome back to Like a Tree. Hello, hello. Okay, I think you have to request to join. We are getting Miss Loune-Djenia Askew here on the live stream. I've just invited you. Hello!
Oh,
So excited.
it's just so close to me. Ooh, wait, my oily forehead.
Oh, please, you're fine. You look amazing.
Thank you. Can you see my green? Oh, that's not what I meant to show. that's not, that's not what I meant to show. But can you see my green for St. Patrick's Day?
Oh my gosh, somebody's gonna have to pinch me. The plant is a part of me. I forgot green. Oh, I got some green. There we go.
Look at you. You're there. You didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it. Oh my gosh. So happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Oh my gosh, we're almost at the end of this week. This March is going by so fast.
I agree. February always goes fast, so I'm never surprised, but March has been going by pretty fast, unexpectedly. So,
Welcome everybody. We're gonna start in a few minutes. We're just waiting for a few more people to join. So excited for this evening. This is a special.
ooh, not me being able to filter myself. Sorry, I'm having too much fun right now. This is my first time being on Instagram Live.
She don't know how to act on Instagram Live.
Let me pretend I got makeup on real quick.
There we go. Oh my gosh. We're going to have fun tonight. So much fun this evening. Welcome. Come on in. Today, let me see. We'll give it a couple more minutes and we'll start our intro.
Okay.
Yes. Wow. But how's your day been?
Pretty good. I was very happy with what I was able to accomplish today. So very, very good. What about you?
Oh, today was so full. Today was,
Yes.
I'm telling you, baby Blaze and I did not get to rest today, and that's okay. We're going to sleep so good tonight.
Tonight. Okay. Same.
That's what matters.
Oh my gosh.
Tonight is going to be just on point.
Mm-hmm.
We'll give it one more minute. We like to give everybody 5 minutes, one more minute, and then it's time to started. And oh, hello everyone. Ooh, so excited. Let me give a wave to you guys for being here. Thank you for us. Hello to my ladies on Zoom.
Okay, so you're also on Zoom.
Yes, so, I teach on Thursday evenings, and God really pressed on me to do this live streaming on Thursday, and I'm like, I could do both. God, I see what you're doing. We could do both here.
Nice.
Yes. So, it is 7:05. We are going to start. We have an amazing guest with us this evening. Those of you that are joining us on the live stream, you can see us. Those of you that are over on Zoom, you'll be able to listen in on the goodies that we have for you this evening. And those of you that don't even know what's going on here, my name is Tiffany Blaze. I am a holistic wellness coach, and we are talking about the different aspects of health, and more specifically, women's health and wellness. And so we have some gentlemen here. You can listen in because wellness is for everybody. We are focusing on women because it is Women's History Month, and today we have a woman who is impacting history today as it is. We have Loune-Djenia Askew with us today. And guys, let me tell you a little bit about Miss Loune-Djenia, okay? Not only has she been my friend for many years, and her husband is so funny. He always says, they've been friends since they were 7. And we've just accepted it because it's just been so long. Askew is the founding attorney of Askew and Associates PA. Askew and Associates PA is a general practice law firm with primary focus in real estate law and title, business law, immigration law, and civil litigation. And let me tell you, prior to starting her own firm, she was already working in so many different areas of law. This woman is just packed with knowledge. And so, without further ado, let us give a warm welcome to Loune-Djenia Askew, who will be talking about financial wellness with us this evening. Yay! Yes!
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy and honored to be here on this live with you.
So exciting to have you. And you know, that intro could have been a lot longer.
I'm happy you didn't read the entire bio. I'm actually happy.
That's so funny. I'm reading your bio, please, because I want to be able to specify. And yeah, she's just amazing, guys. So financial wellness. We're gonna just jump right into this, okay? So I'm gonna read to you guys what financial wellness is. And this is a definition from the Retire Guide. And it says financial wellness is a state of well-being which you can meet current and future financial obligations, feel secure in your financial future, and make choices that allow you to enjoy life. Okay, so as we've introduced Miss Loune-Djenia Askew, we are going to literally ask you the first question that we have. Oh, ask you. Oh, that's so funny.
Ask you a question.
Flew out that way. So, according to the definition of financial wellness, which we just read, I'm going to repeat it again, which is being able to meet your current and future financial obligations, feeling secure in your financial future, and be able to make choices that allow you to enjoy life. What does that look like for you right now?
Right now. Yeah. It's so funny because as I was listening to the definition, honestly, I thought about God, because honestly, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength.
Right.
And one of the things that I've come to realize is, in everything that I do, if I, keep God at the focus of it, he has it covered. So there's times where stress may try to kick in regards to my finances, but I just remember, he's made so many promises in his word regarding taking care of us, regarding the finances, regarding that he'll supply all our needs. So that's what I feel like I stand on in regarding to, being content and being secure in my financial decisions. Because if I didn't have God to fall back on, I don't think I would be so at peace or feel well in regards to my finances. But after thinking of God, I did think of the things such as, for example, something so simple as this week has been a little bit busier for me. And thank God my husband and I are able to say, you know what, this week we're going to eat out a little bit more because we don't have as much time this week to, you know, save and cut back and just grocery shop and cook. So, and little things like that is what brings you wellness, because instead of having to stress about, oh my goodness, not only am I busy at work, now I have to also go and be, you know, go grocery shopping at 7 and probably be cooking like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock just to eat dinner because of the fact that there's no other option for me. I could just imagine how stressful that would be right now in this season. So I thought about that. And then I thought about the fact that by the grace of God, we have a little trip planned next week. And
Oh,
I'm so thankful and relieved, because I'm just like, God, I need a vacation. But being able to say, oh my goodness, God, I need a vacation. And the question wasn't, oh, can we afford it? The question was, when am I available to go? And
that,
that's financial wellness. You understand? So those are some of the, you know, I guess that's 3 things that I thought of as I was listening to your definition. So that's what they mean to me right now. Being able to rely on God, being able to make decisions that benefit me in regards to my mental health, you know, because of the fact that really money should be a tool. And so that's how I'm looking at it right now.
wow. I love when you said, I'm going to bring that back when you said something that stood out to me is your mental health. You spoke about your mental health. And one thing when it comes to the tree of life is, even though we're talking about different branches, everything's connected. It's
Yes.
all tree. And so if your financial wellness is not in a line, your mental wellness is not going to be there. Your emotional wellness, your emotions are going to be everywhere. You're going to be stressing. And the fact
Mm-hmm.
that you got this, and I love when you said it makes sense that you're able to go out and you're able to provide for yourselves beyond having to rush home and cook after having this
Yes.
day. And being an entrepreneur, those of you that are entrepreneurs out there, I see some entrepreneurs in the timeline today, and some of you ladies are entrepreneurs over on Zoom. We know, and if you don't know, you're about to know that it is not easy. We don't have a 9 to 5 schedule. And so our days could be a 5 a.m. day and it can end at maybe 11 p.m. And even though that may sound, oh, that's not healthy. No, we have breaks in between. We know how to balance it out. But where do you have time to cook in between that when you're working all day? And
Yeah.
so able to have that financial freedom, as you mentioned, to be able to say, no, we're ordering in tonight. It's time to get something in our I love that. Love it. By the way, guys, please, 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 please put your questions. Those of you over here, hello, ladies. Please put your questions in the chat over here on Zoom and pop a question in the comments. We will be taking questions as well, just because this is an interview type format. We want to hear from you. What do you guys want to know about financial wellness? Okay, so my second question for you is, how did you even arrive here? How did you place of just being financially well? I know you didn't just wake up and like, oh, I got everything in the bag. I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm just going to be well off financially. Like, how did you arrive?
So it's so funny because I'm just going to like slightly quote that Bible verse that talks about, no, I have not arrived. And it's so funny. If anyone's like, what? There's a Bible verse that says that? Yes, Paul says it. He talks about, no, brothers and sisters, I have not yet arrived. And if you
Yeah.
Google, I'm sure it'll come up. But so I'm very, very thankful and grateful to where I am now. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anyone to think, well, why does she, you know, why is she saying that? But knowing myself and knowing the goals that I have for myself, I always say it like this is just the beginning. This is only the beginning. And obviously I have God to thank, but also there are some tools and resources that were able to help me along the way. For example, at a very young age, thank God for my pastor and thank God for my church, we did the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University. I always recommend Dave Ramsey to everyone because my husband and I we learned so much. We learned how to budget. We learned how to, just think about finances differently and from a biblical perspective. And it just gave us the type of priorities and mindset shift that we really needed, especially coming from the backgrounds that we come from. A lot of us, we didn't grow up with well-off parents, unfortunately. And a lot of us women and minorities, that's the reality for us. We're, in a sense, we're not starting off where everybody else is starting off. So you're, in a sense, having to learn from zero, from scratch. You don't have someone to look up to say, oh, this is what I'm going to do. No, you have to get out there and get the information on your own. And thank God for us, the information was given to us through our church. And so that was really the beginning for me. And from there, and side note, I always wanted to be an attorney. So in a sense, I always knew I was going to make a good amount in life. You get what I'm trying to say? But in regards to financial peace, because you have people who are making six figures that don't have financial peace. So in regards to financial peace, I had to relearn money and learn money God's way. And even now, currently in our church, we're doing another finance series. It's like, I think it's called Money Mysteries from the Master. Really good book from Pastor PC, I believe is his name. Such a good book, again, biblical based. And these things are changing your mindset of how you approach money, how you approach your finances. And so one of the biggest things for my husband and I was budgeting, managing our debt, being very mindful of how we spend credit cards. For example, you want to make sure you're keeping your balances below 30%. You don't want to max out your credit card. You want to pay on time. You want to try to pay more than the minimum payment, because all of these things affect your credit worthiness. Even if you don't want to use credit for things, let's say you want to pay cash for everything, you still want to have that option of having a good credit attached to your name, because there's things that even if you choose to pay cash, they still are going to do a background check and run your credit.
Yes,
for me to become an attorney, they ran my credit.
Wow.
Yes. And now I'm doing an area of real estate law where I'm dealing with other people's finances. Yeah, they ran a background check again. So imagine I had bad credit. Imagine I had, a whole bunch of like overdrawn bank accounts and all these types of things. They would have told me, well, you're not fit to handle other people's money.
Wow.
I have to open, not even I have to, but I literally have opened trust accounts. As in, this account is specifically for other people to put their money in my account. And so I'm not saying that you should think that way, because maybe someone is like, wait, I'm never going to have to do that. What does this have to do with me? But just to give you an example of how managing your own finances well can help you open doors to other opportunities. Absolutely. So it's very important to be mindful of how you're thinking about finances. Get the information, get knowledge, get an understanding, and change anything first in your mindset that needs to be changed. And then going forward, you take the little steps. And the one thing I love about Dave Ramsey, he gives you a play-by-play. This is what you should do for step one. And he literally calls them baby steps, because he encourages you to do it just one step at a time. And he has so many testimonies of people going from being in debt to becoming multimillionaires. And these are average, regular people. These are not people who are making six figures. No, a lot of these people are teachers and janitors and etc. So I would encourage anyone to look into Dave Ramsey. I still follow him on social media. I still keep up with his stuff because, as I said, I have not arrived. I'm still learning myself.
I love that. All of that information in the description below. So once this live is over, come check back in. It's going to all be in the description, because these are such important tools that are building us to where we need to go. Okay, ladies? Exactly. Listen here. And can I just pause? Can I put your business out there, Miss Loune-Djenia? Because I want everyone to understand, like, when you apply these things, you're able to. You just bought your very first property. You just bought...
My husband and I, yes.
Yes, you and your husband just bought your first property. You just bought a brand new car, and a car that you loved and wanted, and the interior and everything is the way that you need it and wanted it to be, like you're able to, like the definition says, make choices that allow you to enjoy life. So it is possible. And Lou, like I call her Lou, Loune-Djenia, okay, for professional, but she's my Lou. I can call her that. So the time you you come from a background of, even I won't even go as far as saying a single mother, and you're able to come into success. First of all, that's God. Second of all, that is knowledge. Knowledge is what makes us to be able to grow in these different areas. We can't expect to fall into our laps. And so appreciate you doing that. And I had to share that because I don't want people to think, oh, maybe my life circumstances. No, just like you said, these principles with Dave Ramsey, with your church doing money mysteries, these body can get to where they need to be.
Yes.
You are now. And it takes little itty bitty steps. I like how you said that, how Dave Ramsey even calls it baby steps, because it takes time after time. It doesn't just poof and you're here.
Yes.
So
It's
I
a
love
process. It's a process. Even if it's $25 a month that you have to save, it's a process. But before you know it, then the $25 will make a big difference versus just staying where you're at and thinking, well, this is too hard for me to accomplish. No, it's possible, because I'm happy you actually brought up the car tip, because it's
yeah,
two things that I want to talk about when it comes to the car. My first car was a 92 Toyota Camry with mixed matching doors.
yes, I remember that car. I
My
had to
car,
for it.
my car was literally older than me.
Oh,
As mature and professional as I look, I'm younger than 30. So when I got that 92, it was older than me. But that's my thing. There's process. So I went from that, and by the grace of God, last year, my husband and I, we got a 2021 Lexus. Well, no. We got that in 2020. And in
yeah,
2020, we got a 2021 Lexus.
yeah.
And even with that, guys, it goes back to making the right financial choices. Originally, I wanted a Mercedes. But guess what? I knew that no matter what my salary said, I still had to be very wise about my decisions in regarding to how much money I was going to pay on expenses every month. And so we went to the Mercedes lot, and I didn't like those prices. I said, love the car, hate the prices. And do you know, the sales lady tried to convince me, you're an attorney, you could get it. Me, just because I can get it doesn't mean I want to pay for it. And I went right, my little happy self, over to Lexus and got the most beautifulest car I've ever seen, to the point there was only one on the lot, and it was literally left for me. I knew it was. And so fast forward, now we're here, but it just goes back to being patient with yourself, understanding where you're at, understanding the process, because guess what? I was proud of that Toyota. I was valet parking with the Toyota.
That's right.
Listen, right? And now, just as proud as I was with the Toyota, I'm just as proud with my Lexus. And when I do get my Mercedes, I'll be just as proud. So it's just a matter of being patient with yourself, applying the knowledge, and allowing yourself to go through the process and making sure you're growing and developing as you're doing it.
I love it. And I think it's a mindset thing too.
Mindset.
Because just like you said, and every stage that you've been in, you've been very much so confident and trusting God through the entire process.
Amen.
And I love when you said that. I love that. So I have a question from the audience. Someone is asking, could you please share your education journey with us? Thanks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Give us a summary of that.
So with the education, as you know, you're not able to go to law school straight out of high school, unfortunately. Other countries, that is how it is. But in America, we have to go to college first. So I went, literally, from high school, I went to business school. I did a degree. However, in high school, I already had some college credits. So I didn't have to do the full 4 years. I was able to graduate in 3.5 years. And then in between that time, I worked full time. And then I started law school. Basically, I graduated in December 2016, started law school in August of 2017. And then from there, went to law school for 3 years. It's so funny because even in law school, because at the rate I was taking my classes, I was given the opportunity to graduate a semester early, but I kind of turned it down because I didn't want to rush myself. Law school and college were a different beast, okay? So when the registrar's office said, "Oh, you can do this and graduate," and I was like, "No, it's okay. I'll graduate on time. Thank you." So I ended up graduating during the pandemic. Took the bar during the pandemic. Was able to start at a firm in Broward County, and I did that for a year. And then after that, I opened my own. So that was my journey. It was basically from high school to firm ownership was 8 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I love Oh my gosh. Yes, thank you for that question. And if you
Yes,
guys
good
have
question.
any questions, yeah. If you have any more questions, please feel free to put in the chat. And so I love that. That's just so special. And you know what? I want to just share because I know you personally. That journey was just literally, it had the Lord all over it. I feel like the Lord literally was ordering your steps the entire way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in our journeys, we have to remember that. And someone's saying, thank you for sharing. But we have to remember that God is purposeful and He truly does order our steps. He really.
Very intentional. Very intentional.
I love it. I love it. So I have a question since we're speaking on financial wellness.
Mm-hmm.
The question that came up is budgeting a must? Is budgeting a must? Because some people believe that when it comes to financial wellness, you don't have to budget. Well, what is your take and what have you learned from just being in a space where you need to know your finances? Everything has to be in a row. And then just from what you've learned over your years and just saving up and being where you are now. Is it important?
Yes, it is a must. And I don't care if you make $10 or $10 million, you need to budget. And I'm going to quote Dave Ramsey, who is a multimillionaire, by the way. He says, you need to tell each dollar where to go. That's his view on budgeting. You're telling each dollar where to go.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because today at work, because I'm doing real estate, I literally had to do a balance sheet for a transaction that's coming up so that the buyer knows exactly how much to bring at the closing table and the seller knows exactly how much they leave the closing table with. And guess what? Every cent had to be accounted for. Every cent had to be accounted for. So, and this is how corporations run their finances. So if something such important as a real estate transaction and companies that are successful are doing it, why would you as the individual not do it?
Mm.
So I do think budgeting is a must. And don't get me wrong, as I'm speaking to you right now, I'm a little bit guilty. I have not updated my budget for March. And listen, Tiffany knows I usually have my budget like 6 months out.
Yes, she does.
So the fact that I currently do not have an official on paper budget, and don't be mistaken, I know when everything's coming out. So don't worry, everything's good. It's just I still love to have it because I've gotten into the practice. I've been doing it for years now of always knowing exactly this is how much it's going to be. Even if you give yourself spending money, date night, X amount, such bill. Of course, you put the bills on there automatically. Ties, I put my ties on there. even when birthdays are coming up, I put the people's birthdays, the name of the person. Like, I get very detailed with mine. So that's how I would encourage you to do it. You're telling every dollar where to go.
Telling every dollar where to go. I like that. I love that principle. And honestly, it helps because you don't want to be caught off guard all of a sudden, like, oh, I forgot
Exactly.
here. And that's how we get stuck in that loop of not being able to move forward
Mm-hmm.
because we write it. Because so let's get into scripture real quick. The word of God says in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2 to 3, it says, write it down plainly so that in due time, this is the Tiffany Blaze paraphrase version, okay? That in due you
TJB version.
I'm coming out with my own version, y'all. Stop. Also write it down plainly so that when it's time, it can come to pass. Okay, go look it up. We're gonna put in description. But the point of it all is when you write it down, when you're writing out your budget, you're literally telling everywhere to go. And then I would even encourage you to take a step further and pray on your budget. Like,
Amen.
pray on it and say, God, Lord, hey, sometimes, there's times and places where I didn't even know, oh Lord, where is this going to come from? Because I would have, when I was working 9 to 5, I would have a few weeks off at once. And it was just like, okay, I know we budgeted accordingly, but it's just not going to work, Lord. And I remember writing these things down, praying on it, and being able to see God make provision. It's something special when you're able to write that down.
I
Budgeting
love that.
there's a spiritual side. So you see
There
how we
is a
all
spiritual. It's so funny because I want to have a, I guess, vulnerable moment right now. I remember when Moses and it's literally, I was gonna say Moses and I were in law school because he really was in law school too. No, serious.
yes.
When we were in law school and I was not working, we went from always being a two-income household to me not working. And so when I wrote down our budget, it was negative at the bottom. And it's so funny because Dave Ramsey recommends that it is zero at the bottom because you literally tell each dollar where to go. So you should end up with zero at the bottom, just a FYI. You start with how much you made at the top and then you go from there. But with us, when I stopped working, it was negative at the bottom. But it goes back to that principle of what you said, Tiffany, praying over your budget. And guess what? Every bill was paid on time.
Praise God.
Every bill was paid on time. Even if there was negative at the bottom, there was always provision. There was always provision every time. Every time. And so it just goes back to applying these spiritual principles, applying God's word to your finances to succeed in life.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't have agreed more. And just looking in the chat to see. Yes, exactly. Tell every dollar where to go. Exactly. And so if we don't, I have a couple more questions. And then those of you ladies here on Zoom, those of you over here on our live stream, just feel free to ask questions. So something important, let's see if we didn't already touch on this. Oh, guys, my pregnancy eyes. Give me a second.
You got enough light over there?
Lord, bring the light. Yes. So what are some other important factors that played a role in you becoming financially well? Was there anything else that we didn't just tap into? Something that played a role in you just being comfortable where you, well, I don't want to say comfortable because we already spoke about you have goals in the future. Well, let's just
Content. Content is the current word. Not
there we go.
comfortable, but content and honestly so thankful and grateful, but just always knowing that okay, there's still goals to accomplish.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So giving. I
Wow.
learned and this is very spiritual. This is a very much biblical principle. And people who are not in the church understand it. Why do you think these organizations give so much to charities? There's a reason for it. It's a principle. It's a principle. Yes, okay, it can be a tax, tax deductible. That's all fine and dandy. But there's still a reward in giving. Give and it shall be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, running over. And there's so many Bible verses about giving, honestly. But one of the things that I learned in college, I'll never forget this. I'll give you guys this quick story. So, yes, you give your tithes, which with my husband and I, that's non-debatable.
Hey, what are tithes?
Tithes is 10% of all income. So if somebody gives you $5, and just because it's not your job, it's still income. So tithes on the $5 too.
Some people might not know what tithes are.
Yeah, okay, no problem. 10% of all income.
Yes.
And so there's tithes, and then there's additional giving, offerings, whether it is giving to the homeless, whether it is giving your time. Some people think giving is limited to money. It's not. Some people give food. My grandmother, all she does is give food away, and she's so blessed. So it is the principle, though. And so for me, I learned it with money. And in college, I'll never forget this. We're in church. We had a guest speaker come to our church, and he took up an offering. And I don't know, I'm going to say it was Holy Spirit, because I was a college student at the time. And I agreed to give $120. And for a college student who's only working part-time, you guys know that's a lot of money. $120. I remember. And so I gave the $120. The next week, I promise you, I'm not making this up, because I'll never forget. I was so shocked. I received not one, but 2 scholarships, $1,000 each, for $2,000 out of nowhere. Not even a week after giving the $120. And that's the thing that I see. Like, for example, I remember 2020. This is a more recent situation. My husband and I, we went into the year intentionally saying we were going to give more than we had ever done in the past. And then the pandemic hits.
Not knowing what was going to happen.
The pandemic hits. Wow. But when I tell you, and this is not to brag, because this is just truly giving the glory to God. Amen. When I tell you 2020 was our best financial year yet at that time, when we saw how much we made, even with the pandemic and everything going on, we traveled so much in 2020, even if it was just local trips here in Florida, because, other places were shut down. No, seriously, guys, my husband threw me a surprise party. He got me so many luxury gifts that year. Literally, I got so many new pair of shoes that year. And I'm saying, I don't want to people think, oh, I'm focused on being material. No, it's in regards to the principle. It's just applying biblical principle. And I just remember thinking, this is all happening during a pandemic. We were able to pay off our car. Our Nissan is paid off. We were able to do so much in 2020 when it came to finances. And we did meet our goal. We did give way more than we had ever given before that year. So it's just, that's a principle that I think people miss, because you're budgeting, you're doing all of these things. And one of the things I've realized is sometimes when you don't feel like giving, or when you're afraid to give, in a sense of you think you can't afford it, that's probably the time you need to be giving the most. Because it's you're showing God that you're willing to sacrifice. You're showing God that I'm willing to sacrifice. And Tiff and I, we talked about this, and it goes back to Abraham, not me not able to say his name, Abraham, being willing to sacrifice Isaac. But then when he got Isaac back, Isaac came back with a blessing. He was no longer just Isaac. He was Isaac, the promised son, the son that God's covenant will be accomplished through.
There was
And
a blessing.
so the blessing was now attached to Isaac. So that's the same thing. That's the same thing about giving your 10%. That's the same thing about giving something. Maybe it's not just money. Maybe God is calling you to give of something, whether it be the time you spend watching TV, whether it be the time you spend on social media. Maybe there's something God is asking you to give, but just realize and remember that there's always going to be a reward when you give to God. So,
Wow. No, I think that it's so important. And I like when you said that it's not only financial that you can give your time.
mm-hmm.
I remember just seeing how, just for myself, just the faithfulness of those when we were serving, because I serve in my church, those of you that don't know, and just seeing how we never stopped. Like, it's so funny because people are talking to me, they're like, oh, we're going back to church. And I'm like, what do you mean?
We never stopped either.
Stop going to church?
We never stopped either.
Because there was a faith attached to it, you know, and we never stopped serving. We never stopped going to church. And because of that, God saw that as well.
Amen.
So I like to give the example, you cannot receive when your hands are like this. You can't receive. If you're not giving anything, how can you be able to receive something back?
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to be able to come like this before the Lord. Come like this in the different areas of our life in expectation that we're going to receive.
Yes.
Because if your
our hands are open,
receive back, then you can continue to give. And so it's like, we call it, it's a principle called sowing a seed. Yeah. So if you think you sow a seed, what happens? If you sow a carrot seed, you're going to reap the harvest of a carrot. And guess what? You're going to be able to have more seeds from that same carrot to begin to plant again. Yes. It's a continuation. When you give, it's a cycle that does not stop until you stop. Once you stop sowing that seed, you better believe there's not going to be any carrots to come. So,
that's good.
Continue, correct. We just have to continue to give, continue to sow, and trust that it will come to pass. We will receive a harvest. And so I have another question for you, because I know we're down to our last few minutes. This has been so good. I don't know about you all, but I am just enjoying this. And so, do you have any advice for college students or anyone else that is just starting off? Like, do you have any advice for them when it comes to financial wellness? Anything at all that's placed on your heart? I love that question.
Oh, yes. I love that question. And this is very much going to be a do as I say, not as I did type of answer, right? Because now hindsight is 2020.
Okay.
So the first thing is, do not get any credit cards.
No credit card.
There's no need. There's just no need.
Until it's time.
Because you're more likely to overspend.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not even be in a position to pay it off, because the wealthy, they use credit cards, they just pay it off, the entire balance at the end of the month.
Yes. It's very different. It's a different situation.
It's a different situation versus you're in college and you're racking up this credit card with 30% interest, 29.99% interest. Listen, honey, do not get that credit card. If you've already gotten it, cut it up and stop using it and pay it off. Please. Pay it off and wait till you're in a position where you could actually pay it every month. I'm not saying that that's the only way to use credit cards. There's times where you can have a promotion and they won't charge you interest for a year, and then at that point you're borrowing it for what it's worth. But when it gets into those extremely ridiculous interest rates, that's just, you're better off just saving your money and waiting to being able to afford what you're looking to buy. Then I know this is different from everyone. There are people who maybe that is how they're able to eat. So if that's your situation, I pray that God would deliver you and you know, you just have to take what I'm saying as maybe just a goal for yourself. But if you're in a position where you're using the credit cards to buy hair, y'all know what I'm saying, ladies, because I was very much in the same situation. Getting your nails done, shopping. That's not a need. That is a want.
Or vacation.
Vacation. And I
Mistake
know
that
it's so funny because I know people who are like my age who would say that to me, like, "Oh, I'm just gonna put it on the credit card." Da, da, da.
don't do it.
That
Please
adds
don't.
up. That adds up. That adds up very quickly. Especially if you're gonna go every month. I'm not trying to talk bad about everybody. I promise. I'm just saying, just be mindful of the decisions that you're making, because if they're not hurting you now, they're gonna hurt you later.
It will catch up.
It will catch up. It will catch up. So, oh my goodness, it's so sad. Like, I would even go as far as sharing a potential client who called today, elderly woman, credit card situation. Years later, now they're doing wage garnishment. This is an elderly woman. She cannot afford the wage garnishment. So you have to be very mindful. You have to be very mindful. So no to the credit cards. In regards to your schooling itself, I'm hoping you were able to go to, you know, maybe a public school where the tuition is not too expensive, because I'm sorry, unless you're getting a full ride, the private schools are very overrated, guys. They leave people in extreme debt. Many people do not even get a salary close to what they paid to get the degree. And so it's just not worth it. So if you're not already in college, and even if you're now still already there, it's not too late. Switch to a public school. There's nothing wrong with your local community college either. Broward College, the credits are the same. The degree is the same, I promise. And so that's another thing I would advise. And then if you're going as far as getting a refund check, please, please, please try your hardest not to spend it. Please, please, please save or invest it. Or if you did already accumulate credit cards, pay off the credit cards. Or if you can even, let's say you're taking out loans and you're getting a refund, which that might indicate that you don't need as much loans as you're getting, which stop it. Reduce the loan amount. You could tell them that. You could say, hey, I only need X, Y, and Z to cover my expenses. Don't give me the rest of that. I don't need it. You can say that to them. The other thing is, let's say you're not getting student loans. Let's say you're getting only grants. Get into the stock market. Very serious. Very serious. Get into the stock market. Especially now, it's the time value of money. However, when there's compound interest, you could literally retire a millionaire because you invested 10 years earlier than the next person. And so if you need help, go to a bank. They have those, you know, stock people in the banks that could work with you. I know, because I know some people, they just do it with apps now. My husband's into that type of stuff. He's in charge of that stuff for us. But I'm saying, if you need help, you know, and you're not able to find the information on Google, you don't know anyone to go to a bank branch. They have people to help you in regards to, hey, I only have $2,000, but I want to get into the stock market. Or, okay, I only have $1,000. I want to get into the stock market. They will help you get at where, you know, enter at the level that you are at. And then you could go from there, and that money will build over time. Even if it's just $1,000 that only one time, it still will reap a benefit later on. So make decisions that your future self will be proud of.
Yes, live a life. You will look back and say, oh, I'm so happy I did that, instead of why.
Why?
And it's true when it comes to stocks and it comes to investing, guys, we nowadays have access to so much information. YouTube is a free university that you can sign up for.
It's the
Go
truth.
on. There's so many people that break it down. I remember when I was just learning about just switching career paths, I literally went to YouTube. That's how I found out what a health and life coach was. I was like,
wow.
I teach people about health, but I don't know how to go about it. What do I do? YouTubing, and I did my research. I read books, and you would be surprised. Listen, guys, especially those of you that are in college right
Mm-hmm.
now, my younger ladies, listen, there are so many free, well, not really free. You're paying for it. You're literally paying for the resources. They're free resources, but there's so
Uh-huh.
many that have. I know just for me going to Broward, I joined so many I joined internships. I was making sure I was
Mm-hmm.
part of it. Why? Because I had access to so much information that it was mind boggling. Like I have books and books and books that I was able to receive from my college being part of an internship, free books that were given to me about financial wellness and
Mm-hmm.
mindset, just being able to move forward. Look into your colleges, do your research, and you will see that you can find
Mm-hmm.
resources. And those of you that are out of college, you're done. Hey, guess what? There is a beautiful place called a library, and we have Google. And let me tell you something, if you're going to invest somewhere, start investing in some books,
I
okay?
like that. Mm-hmm.
Books to learn. And maybe even, as we spoke earlier, invest into the Dave Ramsey program. That is a program that even now, like Ted and I, we've got our budget, we got things going well. And I'm like, I think we need to go into the Dave Ramsey program now. I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, I think it's time now, babe.
It's so good.
Little human being coming on the way. Like, it's never too late. It's never too late. Like, let's not limit what God can do in our lives.
Amen.
He will constantly keep pouring into us so long as we're not like this. Okay? It's like this with our information too. If we're like, I know it all. I know it all. There's not much God could do with this. But
Yeah.
when you me, I want to learn.
I
And
I
willing
need
to give,
help.
I need help. Yeah.
I feel like I've gotten to the point where I'm at now by openly, unexcusably telling people I need help. Today I called someone. I said, I need help. And they will take the time. It's
Mm.
very rare where I tell someone I need help and they say, well, I don't want to help you.
Oh,
I don't think that's ever happened to me, actually, now that I think about it. No. People, you'll be surprised. Just asking will take you a long way. So, agreed. Say, I need help, and the help will come.
yes. And speaking of I need help, before we close, if you can please just talk about a little bit about the services you provide in case we need some legal help. You know, I spoke about it briefly, but if you can just touch back on that, because now we know we have a trusted lawyer in our circle that we can go to, a godly woman who is responsible and financially well, knows how to manage some things. So can you please tell us a little bit about it before we close out?
So, the firm is located here in Broward County. I'm offering trying to focus more in the areas of business. So whether you're wanting to start a business or you already have a business and you want an attorney to, draft contracts, or you need legal advice regarding regulations, those types of things. And then for the real estate, I am a real estate attorney as well as I do title work. So I operate as a title company, but the difference is I'm attorney-owned title company. So you don't have to go to a title company that's not attorney-owned. And my prices are just as competitive as a title company. I've had clients call me and say, "Are you going to charge me $3,000 for this?" I'm like, "No." I literally laugh on the phone because I know where they're coming from. They're concerned that, oh, I'm having an attorney on the transaction with me. That's going to cost me crazy money. No, it is so competitive and fair to the point I've seen title companies charge more than me, just to be real. So if you're buying or selling a home, you need a real estate attorney on your team. So if you're a realtor, you need a real estate attorney on your team. So please call me. And then we're also doing civil litigation. So whether it's initiating a lawsuit or defending a lawsuit, and two other areas that we focus on are immigration. So a vast variety of immigration services, such as family-based or even asylum cases. So we're doing that. And then estate planning was recently added because I know this is something
Oh,
that's very needed in the community.
yeah.
So preparing wills, preparing trust, and listen, the wealthy people, they have trust. They don't have wills. Okay? And if you call me, I could tell you the difference. And
With
the
all of you.
listen, I saw a transaction today where the company is going to own the property, but that company is owned by another company. And I said, okay, that's how you do it. So if you want to learn these things, call me
Yeah.
and we could get you set up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. And Lou knows I will call her in a heartbeat. Can you help me revise this contract, please? Because
Exactly.
so, oh my goodness, thank you so much.
Of
Thank you.
course.
And once again, ladies, we have spoken about the tree of life last week, and now we're on one of our first branches, financial wellness. And I just feel like I'm full. Like, listen, it's not just the belly from pregnancy. I feel full. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for
Of
coming.
course.
Guys, if you want to book a consultation, we're going to put just everything in the description box below. So please go and check it out. And that is what we have for today for financial wellness. Thank you so much, Loune-Djenia. Thank you so much for what you do. And thank you for making history. Like,
Thank you.
we're able to just be here with the woman who is just making history and impacting not only the world around her, but the kingdom of God. And that is extremely important. Yes. Oh, gosh. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, have a good one. And goodbye, everybody. Thank you all for just listening in. And we will be back next week with another woman who is impacting. Let me see.
Impacting.
Impact.
That was me with Abraham. I'm like,
Yeah,
Abraham? Abraham?
impacting history. So that is all for this evening. God bless. And thank you again, Loune-Djenia.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.